Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for April 5, 2022. The Is Corporate Diversity Unconstitutional edition. As our lead story comes to us from Reuters, a Los Angeles District Court has ruled that the state's corporate diversity law is unconstitutional. It mandated that publicly traded companies include people from underrepresented communities on their boards. Once again, showing the power of white conservative groups who want to strike down anything that would bring non-whites into power. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to this as it goes up through the court system in California. The court did not attach any opinion with its ruling, only holding that it was unconstitutional. Next up, from the Financial Times, Jonathan Guthrie asks, is ESG a category error that needs unbundling? There is currently $3.2 trillion in equity funds that claim to have ESG objectives. Scales rightly invites tough scrutiny. Obviously, lots of funds are looking at this, and the author believes that many criticisms of ESG are justified, and he claims the biggest mistake is in the category itself, as that it creates a marketing tool only, and it allows financial investment in bad stuff. So whether you think ESG is bad or not, it's an interesting perspective from the investor class, who perhaps, much like those in California, don't want to see diversity in corporations going forward. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, some companies are putting M&A on hold amid the Russian war on Ukraine. They're taking time to analyze potential deals, as the war has put a damper on what was otherwise expected to be a robust year for acquisitions, particularly in European companies who are more directly impacted than those in the United States. They're taking a deeper dive and asking, some companies are asking not only who's in your supply chain, but who is all the way down. And our final story comes to us, second story from Reuters today. The Roger Ng trial is in its closing phase, as closing arguments will be given today. It's not known whether closing arguments will extend over to tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting to see the defense tie its strategy together, having only presented one witness, Roger Ng's wife, to talk about the investments that she made, which paid off to the tune of $35 million that the Department of Justice claims are the proceeds of ill-gotten gain. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.